let's talk about how much does it cost to be an actor here, specifically in Toronto. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Anastasia. If you are new, I'm a Canadian actor based here in Toronto, and I make videos about acting and self-love. How much are you needing a month for acting expenses? How much are you needing in general for your just day-to-day life expenses? So you can kind of gauge what you're getting yourself into. So let's get into it. So the first thing, in terms of acting, you're gonna obviously wanna have your package. You're gonna need to get your headshots done. You're gonna need to do classes. If you wanna do maintenance, for example, like I dye my hair, if you have specific beauty things you gotta do, like eyebrows or this or that or whatever, these are things that you all have to consider into your acting package because you are doing them in order to kind of look the way you wanna look for the acting portfolio. Look to gauge between $50 to $300, depending on how much your beauty expenses are, for about every month to 2 months for your acting package. Another thing you would like to remember is keep all your receipts for when you're doing beauty stuff because you are able to tax them because you are an actor. We had a, what do they call the people who help you do with your taxes? An accountant? The tax person. We had one come when I was in theater school in my last year. He specifically works with actors and artists. And he said that as an artist, you're actually allowed to write off any of your beauty expenses because it is geared, like it's you taking care of yourself because that's what you're supposed to do in this career. So keep your receipts because you can write them off and you can tax them when it's time to do your taxes. So that is something, side note, you want to remember. You're gonna be doing classwork as well. Classes are gonna range between $400 to $600, and this depends on the studio, the type of class you're doing, and also the length of the class. I say $400 to $600 because if you are doing a monthly ongoing class, so it's once a week every month, that will roughly be around $400 that you're paying a month for the class. So it's gonna keep renewing it until you tell the studio, I don't wanna continue class anymore, then it will stop. Pro Actors Lab, I think I pay like $500 is what it is, and it's every 6 weeks. So that $500 lasts you for a total of 6 weeks. I know some other courses can be up to $600, but it never is more than $600. So that's something else you wanna gauge on. So that is gonna be included in your every month, every 2 months that you're gonna be putting in for the class. Your headshot package, now this is not something you have to do every month. This is something you're going to do every year to year and a half. It's gonna roughly cost you around $1,000. And this is with, I'm talking all the edits, the clothes you bought, the hair and makeup that you're gonna pay for. This is probably the max you would ever pay. Unless you wanted to do more headshot looks and you wanted more different edits, then that will obviously add up. But you're gauging roughly between $800 to $1,000 for a headshot starter package. Now, if you are part of any union, whether it be equity for theater or ACTRA for film and television, you have to be paying every year for your credit. So I'm apprentice. I pay $111 every August because that's when I joined the union for my credit. The fee does go up when you get the credits. When you become full union, you actually start paying a lot more union fee dues. Now, the other thing is you're gonna be signed up on different websites: Actors Access, Casting Network, Casting Workbook. Actors Access and Casting Network, you don't have to pay anything for them. The only thing you would maybe, I paid once, was to add a few extra headshots because I think they allow you 1 free headshot or 2 free headshots. I don't remember. I wanted to add 3 or 4 total headshots. So I ended up paying, I think it was $40 for each headshot that I added, is a one-time fee that I paid. Same with Casting Network. You have to pay one time to add those extra headshots. You don't have to pay ever again. Casting Workbook is the only one that you actually have to pay every year, just like the union fees, same thing. Casting Workbook, I also pay $111 for Casting Workbook. I didn't know that. These things you want to keep receipts for. You pay for your union credit, keep the receipt. You pay for Casting Workbook, keep the receipt. This is all gonna be good for your taxes because this is proof that you are legitimately working as an actor. This is your career, this is your employment. So always, always, always print out the PDF of the receipts when they send you once you pay. Let's add up all of this all together, and this is how much roughly you're going to be paying kind of as your package as an actor. when it comes to your at-home kit, now this is important because all of our auditions are at home, you want to have your own at-home self-tape sort of package going on as well. You want to have a good phone that has good sound quality, audio, and obviously a really good like videotaping quality. Camera, if you really want to get one, you can. It's not necessary, but I know some actors that are union that are auditioning for really big stuff, they prefer to use a camera. That's just something they want to do. Again, my camera costed me like $1,000. I think it was on sale. It was $1,000. And I bought this camera for my YouTube. I never bought it originally for the acting. It just so happens that I'm like, well, if I have a camera, I might as well use the camera for my self-tapes as well. Makita uses it as well, but our phones work just as fine. You want to also look into getting, if you don't have good sound quality, obviously get a microphone. You can either get the one that's clipped into, like you plug it into your phone and then you clip it into your shirt. Just remember it's not sticking out on your shirt, it's in the shirt because they don't want to see that. Or if you can get one that mounts onto the phone and then you're talking, that's great too. All of this can be found on Amazon. And again, this is like a one-time thing you're paying. You're not getting a ring light every year. I've had this ring light for 4 or 5 years. It works great. I love it. It has cool colors. It has warm colors. It could be brighter, not as bright, like everything all together. I paid for this ring light roughly about $100. Then my microphone that I used for my phone before I had a camera was $50. And then actually, I used to have a backdrop like back in the day. I think I paid $75 for this backdrop. So that's like a one-time thing you're doing. And this is really, really important that you have this because you're not gonna be able to, like, it's just hard to stand your phone on a bunch of books and then a bunch of stuff. Like, get the ring light. It's gonna freaking save your life. It's gonna make your quality, like, videos for your self-tapes. It's going to really, really help you with the audition. So this is important that you add this into your package as well. Let's talk about your other like day-to-day living expenses that have nothing to do with acting. This is doing with you to live and breathe on this beautiful world. Now, in Toronto, rent right now is quite expensive, and we've gone up a lot. I would say we are on the same level as Vancouver. We're not that far off. Vancouver is also quite expensive, and especially if you live in the downtown core of Vancouver, it gets quite freaking pricey over there as well. The most expensive neighborhoods here that you kind of want to avoid when you're living is Yorkville. Summerhill, Rosedale area can be quite pricey as well. Down by the harbor front, like we're talking like right next to Union Station, right by the water. Anything to do with the water is pretty expensive because it's great view. Everything's pretty accessible there, so that's also expensive area. If you go down to the west end, it's not too bad. It's a little bit on the cheaper side. And if you also go a little bit on the east, like Queen East, you can find some pretty nice, like they're new areas that are like being gentrified is what it is. That could be nice areas for you to look at. Liberty Village can be hit or miss. Some of the spots in Liberty Village are hella expensive, and then some I've heard and seen from my friends that are living there that they found a pretty good deal. Again, this depends on the area, and it depends also how big your apartment is. Like if you're a bachelor or a one bedroom plus den, do you have a parking spot with your condo or apartment, or do you have like a balcony? How high up are you in the building? Like all of these do come into play. Cheapest you'd pay here is maybe like $1,500 to $2,500 to $3,000 is what you're looking at. Again, this is hugely based on the area. Here in Toronto, the nice thing right now about acting is that you don't necessarily need to be here every day all the time the way we were prior to COVID, because prior to COVID, all of our auditions were all in person. So if you did not live downtown, it was like merely impossible for you to have another job and like live a life, because you're spending like an hour and a half driving in from Oshawa or Whitby or wherever just to get in here for a 20-minute audition and then drive back. And then the traffic is pretty bad here, so it just isn't necessarily time effective and cost effective for you. Now, things have really turned after COVID, and I would say 80 to 90% of our auditions are all online. The rest are sometimes callbacks in person, which tends to be only non-union commercials that are being done as callbacks right now in person. Because our auditions are mainly online now, you don't have to be in downtown, so it does make it easier for you if you are not wanting to pay a shit ton amount. I don't blame you. I don't want to pay a shit ton amount either. You can also live on the outskirts of Toronto. You don't have to be in Toronto if you don't want to. Like you can live in Mississauga. You're looking to drive like an hour into the city, but these are areas you can hit. Etobicoke, close on the subway line. Scarborough, also close on the subway line. And then if you want to go even farther, you can go to like Durham region, which would be Pickering, Ajax would be Oshawa, that kind of stuff. So you have a few areas that you can hit up in terms of your price point and whatnot. Groceries, I roughly spend, I think like maybe $600 to $700 a month on groceries. That's for the two of us. Let's say $600 to $800. The best place, honestly, to buy groceries, I would say, is in the little like fruit and veggie market. I love those, like Chinatown. Love going to Chinatown and getting my little fruits and veggies there. It's much cheaper. It's great quality. It's fresh. It's just, I really love it. So that's my go-to for fruits and veggies. For meat, I usually will hit up like a Loblaws, Superstore. Metro is my best friend. They usually always have really good deals in Metro for meat and like cheese and eggs and that kind of stuff. And there's tons of them here in Toronto, so it's very accessible. Make sure to be checking the deals because those are really good sometimes for you to, you know, save up on a couple extra bucks on really good meat, cheese, eggs, that kind of stuff. Extra expenses. Now, again, it depends on how tight on the budget. Like my extra expenses are probably roughly right. And this is like me going out, going to restaurants, like hanging out, going to bars, that kind of stuff. It's probably like 500 right now. I'm keeping it on a tight budget because I'm really trying to save right now. And I'm really trying to put in money into other things like creating my website. That's costing me. My YouTube editing, that costs me. So these are other things that are more important for me. So right now I'm really trying to hone in on not going out as much. So 500 is roughly what I bank for every month. Again, it depends on you. Some people don't go out at all. Some people go out a lot more. So it's whatever your budget permits for you to do. This is roughly what you're looking at in terms of expenses when it comes to being in Toronto and when it comes to being an actor here in Toronto. Like I said, if you're new to Canada, you're coming in here, I would try to have this money already kind of saved up a little bit so you're not freaking out when you come here and you're like, oh my God, this is a lot. I wanted to make this video because I know there's a lot of people that like Canada and the States are where you want to be when it comes to acting. So I just want you to have sort of an awareness of what's it like to live in Toronto? How much are my expenses going into what? How much is it costing me for an acting package? So then you know that when you're coming in here that this is roughly what you're going to be spending yearly or monthly in terms of your own personal expenses or the acting altogether. Howdies, if we have any questions, link them down below. I'm more than happy to answer. If you want to also DM me, you know where I'm at Anastasia_Piaro. I love you, and I'm going to see you all next Friday. Bye!